We have only 35 chambers. There is no 36.
I know that. But I want to create a new chamber.
And what would that be?
I think Shaolin techniques should be available to all. So then, that's my idea for a new chamber. To teach the martial arts to the people. Anybody.
Two, and then the three, and the four, then you gotta breathe. One and then the two, and then the three, and then the four, then you gotta breathe. Then you gotta. Yo, these niggas can't breathe.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of My 3 Cents. Yeah, man, I'm feeling good, feeling great. Hey, man, welcome back. And today, if you haven't guessed, this episode is going to be on nothing less than breathing, the thing that keeps you alive, the thing you can't do without, and something you might actually be doing the wrong way. So what I'm going to get into is the techniques of breathing. What does it do? What's it for? How does this work? What is Chi? What is Kundalini? How are they related to breathing? Let's go. So when I was thinking of this episode, I was having a conversation with somebody and the whole, breathing thing came up. Because when I'm talking to different friends of mine, sometimes I'll notice how they breathing. And I'll tell them to take a deep breath. And what I normally notice is that the chest pops out. You know how people breathe and then they puff their chest up. And I say, hey, man, did you know you was breathing backwards? And they like, what? How can you breathe backwards? I'm alive, ain't I? I can't be doing this wrong. And I'm like, yeah, man, it's a right and a wrong way to do everything. There's a spectrum. And so, with every and anything, you got to recognize where you are on the spectrum, right? Because it could be detrimental to your health. And so with breathing, let me see how I want to jump in. Let's see. Let's first of all talk about what's called full body breathing. Full body breathing is when you understand that the air in your body is like a complete sheet of air. It's not little pieces of air that you're bringing in and blowing out. There's a complete sheet of air in the body. The body is pressurized. The body is airtight. If you puncture the pressurized body, this is why the blood will start to squirt out or come outward, right? Because it's pressurized. Don't puncture the suit, right? You get the air leak. So full body breathing is a technique that's been around for thousands and thousands of years. It does everything from heal certain ailments to project you into another realm if you into that. See, if you understand, if you ever heard somebody say, nah, man, I don't smoke, I don't get high, I get high off life. This is where that comes from, right? Because there's a level of breathing that you can attain to give you these different feelings. And you like, whoa, what's happening? Now, just to prove that point, I want to bring up something that a lot of people have witnessed, if not been through. It's like hyperventilating, right? Panicking, panic mode. What happens in panic mode? You start to breathe uncontrollably. And if you can't capture your own breaths, you're going to be sitting there feeling out of control and feeling all kinds of ways. This is what they call the hyperventilation, right? You're ventilating too quickly and it's getting out of control. So that's what brings the brain into panic mode, right? So it's no different than like when you upset and somebody say, hey, man, take a few deep breaths, calm down. See, this is how breathing can do many things, depending on how you do it. I took martial arts for a while, for some years, some time ago. I still practice privately because it's something that never leaves you. If you've ever been involved with the martial arts, it's something that never leaves you, right? It just becomes a part of you. It's a way of living. It's balance, which is actually why I got into it. It wasn't to fight. I grew up fighting, but it was more so about bringing balance to myself. You don't want to be an out of control person. You grow up as a teenager, you're a hothead. Depending on where you live and the situations you've been in, you've adapted to those environments. And when you get moved around into a different environment, all of a sudden you're the hothead. All of a sudden you the troublemaker. When before you was just ready to defend your own and you understood how to stand your ground. And so, it gets complicated, but yeah, man, that's why I went into the martial arts, because I actually took Kung Fu, Palum Kung Fu, for a while. And it taught me a lot, because what I wanted to do, my main goal was to achieve balance. Because I know with martial arts, that's something our ancestors did, believe it or not. That's something that's been around for a very long time. It's in your genes. If you've ever liked Kung Fu movies, if you've ever pretended to know it, what you might not realize is that you're doing those things because it's genetic. And it's actually embedded in your genetics. That's a whole nother topic when I do one on DNA and genetic codes and whatnot and the ancestors. I'll dedicate an episode to the ancestors, and I'll let you know how you arrived at the point you at now, right? So, a funny thing, I actually also wanted Kung Fu to help me with, because I play basketball, right? So I wanted to see how martial arts would combine with basketball. And sure enough, it's allowed me to put together my own type of game where it's hard to explain, but, the pump fakes, the jerk moves and stuff like that are so purposeful and quick. It's hard to tell what I'm about to do. So, when I lose, it's because I beat myself. When I win, it's just effort, right? A lot of times I lose because I spend time calculating what I can do and trying things. I don't always aim to win. It's not always about winning for me, because if I successfully learn something about myself, I won, to me. A lot of people base everything on competition. I'm not one of those people, because if that was the case, I would just go around beasting on everybody and bragging, right? Where's that going to get me? Nowhere. So, yeah, let's get back to breathing, though. Martial arts taught me that the first thing it taught me about breathing was when somebody hits you in the stomach, if you actually release the air by exhaling at the right time, and you have no air trapped in the stomach gut area, you won't feel the pain of the impact of the punch in the stomach, if that makes sense. This is what they call absorbing the blow. If you've ever heard of that, that's what that means, right? We've all been hit in the stomach before. It's not a good feeling. It's horrible. It's a pain that's just hard to describe because it's different than other pains. But yeah, what I learned was if you know how to inhale, exhale at the right time, that makes a hell of a difference. So I started paying more attention. And something that Sensei used to have us do, he used to have us sit on the floor with these cups in our hands, right? And they would have like long incense, long incense or something in the cups. And we would have one cup in the palm of each hand, right? You're sitting Indian style, and you have your palms up to your sides, and you got one cup in each hand, and it has long incense in them. Now, what's the purpose of this? The purpose was to close your eyes and to maintain balance. So what he would do is that he would play slow music while we were sitting in those positions with our eyes closed, holding those cups level, right? And while he was playing the slow music, he would show us how to breathe a certain way to actually go against the calming environment, right? This was very important. He showed us how to alter our breathing in a situation so that the situation is not controlling your breathing. This was very key. So he would show us how to, even in a situation where you're supposed to be focused on these cups, there's very slow music and tones playing, and you're sitting with your eyes closed, very still in a very quiet room, right? How to breathe and get our heart to beating fast. And then how to slow that back down. And what he showed us, the purpose of this, one of the purposes was, if you was ever to get injured or in a situation where an average person would panic, you would actually be able to alter your breathing to put yourself in a calm state. Now, this is very important in different situations, right? Because the main example he would give us is that if you were to get stabbed or something happened to you where you were losing blood, see, what you got to realize is that you're losing blood according to how you're breathing. If you're sitting there hyperventilating and breathing heavily, guess what? The blood is leaving you faster. Everything is cycling through the body quicker. See? You see what I'm getting at? So if you was able to become calm in an otherwise panic situation, you would slow down the blood loss. This might mean the difference between you living or dying on the way to the hospital. So this is when I first started really reading things and paying attention to breathing, how other people breathe. And it made a lot of difference in my life, right? So to this day, I show people how to breathe properly. It's called full body breathing. I don't care if you got a headache, a stomach ache. My daughter does it all the time. You know, people I know use it all the time because I've showed them and it works. And it works immediately. It's nothing that you have to do over and over to get it to work. It always works. So what it is if I, as a beginner, I would start off with 3 seconds inhaling, hold it for 1 second, and then exhale for 3 seconds, right? So what happens is you would inhale through your nostrils, and you're breathing properly when your stomach expands when you take a breath in. You see, have you ever watched somebody sleep and they're snoring and just sleeping good? Is their chest going up and down, or is their stomach going up and down? The stomach, right? Because you see, when you're unconscious, when you have let go of conscious control of the body knows what to do. The body knows what and how to do it. It's you messing everything up. It's you shortening your lifespan. It's your conscious mind that refuses to learn the brain and the body efficiently. It's you that's refusing to put that work in. You see, because when you study self, when you have knowledge of self, you become a whole different type of creature, right? But I digress, because you know what? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? So I show them how to take a breath in, fill up the stomach with air, and when you exhale, the stomach actually goes flat, actually kind of sucks in when you have released all the air. Now, this is moving the entire sheet of air in the body. This is proper breathing for proper circulation, better circulation. If you're the type of person that has sore limbs and you sit down for a while and you're feeling some type of way and things feel stopped up and clogged up, especially if your diet ain't on point, right? Full body breathing will help you a lot. Full body breathing. Stomach ache, digestion. I mean, anytime something's wrong with you next time, I want you to try this. I want you to breathe in, hold it for a second, and then exhale to where your stomach flattens and damn near sucks in. This is proper breathing. Watch what it does. I guarantee you, if you do this for 10 minutes straight, you're going to feel something in yourself that you have never felt before. This is also akin to meditation and what they call Kundalini. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into Kundalini like I do. I give you tidbits so that you can go look these things up. So Kundalini, full body breathing, Chi, Prana. Look these things up and you'll see the connections easily. So just to give you the short version, Kundalini is something that whether you believe in knowledge or ancient knowledge or not, I know a lot of people that's so caught up in the systems of today, they fail to realize what came before them and got them to the point where they are now, right? So a lot of times I got to point out things that are in plain sight to where they can see that the knowledge is still all around them, and actually everything that they're witnessing and participating in contains the same knowledge. And I feel privileged to be able to do that because these are things that were opened up to me spiritually without me even looking for them, right? I'm an avid dreamer. I'm going to do some dream episodes. We're going to get into that. But through my lifetime, I've been exposed to things that I don't think a lot of people are going to get the chance to be a part of. So that's why I knew it was important for me to speak on some of these things, spark your interest, spark your mind and your consciousness, and expand it. Me and my brother were joking around the other day, and I was saying, the brain is like a parachute. It only works properly if you open it. So just think on that. But so yeah, Kundalini is it's a certain type of energy that sits at the base of the spine. And so saying that you don't believe in knowledge, saying that you don't believe in the chakra and stuff like that is like saying you don't believe in your spine, you don't believe in your cells, and you don't believe that you're a structure made of cells that's actually not as solid as you think you are. So it sounds equally ignorant, right? So this is an energy that sits at the base of your spine. And if you want to meditate properly, I'm going to fuse this with meditation because this is what it really helps with. What they call raising your Kundalini. Have you ever had that feeling where something is kind of like creeping up your spine from the inside? And you like, man, what the hell? I feel like something's crawling up my back. See, what you might not be realizing is that you were probably breathing a certain way, thinking a certain way, combined with your breathing. Something was going on that was causing your Kundalini to rise. And symptoms of Kundalini rising is a lot of times you'll catch these little heat flashes and not understand what's going on with you, and then it goes away in a few minutes. A lot of times when you awaken that Kundalini and rise it up, you get extremely hot. Also, another thing is that in your head, like in the top of your head, you'll feel something going on in there, like tingling keeps happening, or, you know, something, and you just like, man, I don't know what's happening. I feel like something's going on. I don't know if I'm itching or, you know, you don't know what it is. These are just a couple of symptoms of your Kundalini rising. It happens to everyone at different times. This energy rises up in everyone. So another example of, just to show you that the knowledge is everywhere, another example of the Kundalini energy, I'm not going to go into this because, you know, one, I don't advocate for religion. I do understand that these different religious books all play a part in the totality of knowledge, right? So when you subscribe to a religion, they're always going to tell you don't read anybody else's books. Don't look anywhere else for information. They're always going to say that. Trust me, they're doing that for a reason. So this also relates to the Adam and Eve story and the actual snake and the actual tree of knowledge. What you might not understand is that the tree of knowledge is actually your brain stem in connection with your spine, right? The snake is the Kundalini. The knowledge, or the apple, is the pineal gland. So it's a metaphoric story. I'm not going to explain it right now. I've explained it to some people. You know, I have conversations like this with different people face to face, but I'm not going to get into all that right now. You can send me a message or, you know, hit me up some kind of way. If you want to know more about that, we can go in anytime. So the serpent represents the snake, what they call the Kundalini. The Kundalini is always represented by a snake, right? You say, why a snake? Well, if you understand the brainstem and where your brain is connected to your spinal cord, you understand that there's something called the reptilian brain. The reptilian part of your mind, and you can look this up. These are medical terms. Yes, medical terms. So there's a part of your brain that is called the reptilian part of your mind because it is what controls where you panic, how you think about different situations in your lowest chakras, right? Also, if you want to also see the relation to the reptile, it's easy. You can look at your hands, your feet. This is why you have webs, the web in between the fingers and the toes. This is why if you don't use lotion or something like that, after a long time, you will become scaly. I'm not going to show you too much again, but these are the relations to what they call the reptilian. So you might have heard things say, man, ain't no such thing as a reptile person and stuff like that. It's just that you're misunderstanding the metaphor. You're taking it literal, and literally it looks stupid. So you got to understand the metaphor behind a lot of these different things that you're hearing about. Because remember, nothing's fake. Everything's real. But it's just that, are you perceiving it in the proper way? How can anything be fake, right? How can anything be not real? Think about that. If me and you having a crazy conversation, so to speak, and it's about this, it's about that, all kinds of deep knowledge, and you say, man, that's not real. Then I want you to explain to me, how are we talking about something that does not exist? So you got to know that everything exists because it exists. If it didn't, guess what? You wouldn't know about it. You wouldn't be talking about it. No one would. Think about that before you cast down different levels of knowledge that you haven't attained yet. Remember, knowledge, it's easy to know when somebody's giving you knowledge, right? Because when it's being delivered, it actually sounds kind of crazy. That's knowledge. That's a sign of knowledge. Why? Because if it was something that you constantly agreeing to everything I'm saying, I'm not giving you knowledge. But if I'm giving you something that make you step back and like, what? I don't know. Guess what? That's knowledge. That's knowledge by definition, because it's something that exists that you don't have the information on yet. You haven't looked into it yet. So to you, it is knowledge. It is knowledge once you get into it. It's new to you. It's knowledge. You have to know the ledge, right? The edge of your understanding. Once you know the edge of your understanding, once you have the knowledge, then you can move beyond that. That's how you know where you were. See? So it has to strike you as something that's at the edge of your knowledge. It has to strike you as something that's at the edge of your understanding that don't really make sense to you. Think about that. So when you get into these different ways of breathing, it's one way that you can bring up the Kundalini energy from the base of the spine and help it rise up the spine to the brainstem. This is when you become empowered. If you've ever heard of martial arts if you've ever heard of Qi involved in martial arts, well, it's life force energy. It's the same thing as prana. It's the same thing. If you don't believe in that, then you don't believe in breathing. Because I want you to explain to me how you breathing is keeping you alive. If you don't understand that what you're taking in is being transfigurated into something called prana or life force energy or Qi, then you don't get this whole thing that we're doing. You don't get this vessel that you're in that you call your body. You're not getting it. If I tell you to raise your arm right now, if you hear me saying this, I say, hey, raise your right hand, put your right hand down. Right? I know a lot of y'all just did that. Raise your right hand, put your right hand down. And then I say, okay, did your body automatically raise its right hand and put the right hand down when you heard that? Or did you hear that and then go into the body and say, okay, I'm going to raise my right arm and put my right arm down? So if it's the latter of what I just asked you, then you have to really understand. That was a very simple example for you to understand that you are in control of the body because you are in the body as consciousness. You are not the body. The same way you made a decision to raise your arms and put it down, you have to understand that was not an automatic feature of the body like breathing and blinking and digestion and other things. That was a conscious act. That was something that you initiated by being the one in control of the body. You're not the body, but you do have control of the vessel. Right? When you're in a car, are you the car? Right? This is a larger version. Don't they call a car a body? I'm going to get into symbolism on a whole other episode. It might blow your mind how a lot of these things are just the same thing over and over in a supposed different form so that you can't recognize yourself. See? So, getting back into breathing, it's a really cool thing to do, man. And if you're into meditation and you don't know how to meditate, because I get this a lot. People say, well, I keep falling asleep when I meditate. I keep losing focus and concentration when I meditate. Let me tell you something. You're not supposed to be focused or concentrating when you meditate. That's why you keep losing it, because you keep trying to hold on to it. That's just a life lesson. Nothing is meant to be held on to. Everything is meant to be let go. This is the knowledge of breathing. Try to hold on to a breath forever. What if you were scared another breath wasn't going to show up and you tried to hold on to one? You die. You would transcend. So this is just a physical example that nothing, and I repeat, nothing is to be held on to forever. Everything works in cycles and circles in this realm. You got to let things circulate. Just like your blood, your oxygen, everything circulates through your body to keep you alive, so must everything else in every situation. Everything must cycle and circulate. This is one thing that in relationships, a lot of people have wrong because you're not the woman or the man that I married years ago. You damn sure right. I'm not supposed to be. Because it wasn't my persona that you were supposed to fall in love with. It was my essence. See? So a lot of us have that wrong off rip. A lot of us have that wrong from Jump Street, man. So everything must cycle and circle just like the breath and the blood of the body. So when you're meditating, here's my advice on meditation. Find a quiet spot. Close your eyes. You know how you can close your eyes and still look around with your eyes closed, like you can move your eyeballs? Close your eyes. I'm giving you the keys to the game right now. You close your eyes. You sit up straight. Don't cross anything like your legs or your arms or anything. Don't have anything crossed, right? Put your palms upward. You can sit them on your lap. Now, I want to tell you something. Why palms up? And I want you to look this up if you're not sure about it. Do you know that you breathe different if your palms are up versus your palms being face down? You might say, how could that make a difference? Look, right now, I want you to hold your arm out. Hold your arm out with your palm up. Notice how there's a smooth flow from the palm to the wrist, to the forearm, to the bicep. Now, all I want you to do is turn your hand over. Don't move your arm. Don't turn your arm. Don't break your arm. Just turn your hand over. Now I want you to notice that once you come from the back of the hand going on to the forearm, there's a weird twist that has happened before you can get to the elbow and the bicep. Turn your hand back over to see the difference. These types of things make a huge difference in the circulation of your air through your body and your blood. So, sit up straight, put your palms up, set them on your lap, close your eyes. Now, move your eyeballs with the lids closed. I want you to look up and to the middle. And you say, well, how far do I look up? You know, look, you look up right when it starts to strain, right? You're looking up into the middle. So when it starts to strain, pull back a little bit. Get right there in the spot where it's not straining. And you look right there and you breathe. This is proper setup for meditation. So you start with your inhales through the nostrils, exhale through the mouth. I'm telling you what I know. You do this for about 10 minutes and see what happens. You'll feel like a new person. You will feel like a new person. You ever heard somebody say in with the good air, out with the bad air? Right? This is meditation talk. So when you're breathing like this, a lot of times you might, because breathing is supposed to be silent. So if you hear something when you inhaling through your nostrils, just use your mouth, because breathing is supposed to be silent. When there's any sound with breathing, that means there's resistance. So if you have to use your mouth instead of your nostrils, that's fine. Just go to where there's no resistance in your breathing. Use that. You know, years ago, I thought about it. One of my friends was smoking or something, and I say, damn, it's funny how they say, because I think he was smoking cigarettes. We were standing outside at work or something like that, and you're talking about how it calms him down. And I said, did you know that it's probably not even the cigarette calming you down, but more so the inhaling and exhaling that's actually making you calm? He said, oh, I haven't thought about that. I didn't think about that. When I was alone after that, I thought, wait a minute, inhale, exhale. And this was a sort of spiritual epiphany. When you inhale and you exhale, even when you exhale or breathe out, the air is hot because it comes from the pits or the depths or the bowels, right? Now I'm going to make a connection for you that you probably never heard. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this jewel. Through some of my studies some time ago, I came across some ancient texts and some knowledge that spoke about breathing, the real knowledge of breathing, and how everything was a macrocosm and a microcosm of each other. So what was the universe's version of breathing, right? So then I started to understand the weather patterns, and that this was an example of the universe. See, remember, Earth is alive. Don't they tell you the body of Earth? Don't you see grass and trees and stuff growing all the time? You are on something that is alive. Take that in. You might be like, oh, I knew that, but really just take a second. Because everything that has a body or that is alive also has that chakra system. See? The energy points, the ley lines, things you might not be aware of. Have you ever heard of longitude and latitude? Right? This is how you pinpoint exact locations. But this is also how they grid this earth that you live on, which what is called ley lines, which are magnetic lines that run all around this thing and intersect at different points. I live in Florida, and the closest ley line to us that intersects is what they call the Bermuda Triangle. That is a cross point. So now you might be able to put together why the strange things happen there. It's high energy. You see? So what I found was that the whole knowledge of the inhale, exhale came from ancient knowledge. Like I told you, a lot of things in the Bible are metaphor. They're parable. A lot of the people weren't actually people. They're what you call personifications of different energies. But again, that's a whole nother podcast. I've actually been struggling with being able to share that type of information over podcasts because it's a very lesser known knowledge. And I got to be careful what I share and who I share it with because it will change your life. Right? I can't be responsible for thousands of people's lives changing, and I don't even know you personally. So I kind of have to filter myself, and I kind of struggle with who I share things with and what I share, especially over the air. So I'm going to give this to you as delicate as possible. So what I found was the breathing of the universe was something that was every 1,000 years. This was a full breath cycle. And it led me to the story of the Bible that they implanted into the Bible, where they tell you that the devil, quote unquote, was cast down to earth, into the bowels of earth, the bowels, for 1,000 years. So then I was able to understand that this whole metaphor was about a breath cycle. It was about a cycle. This is why they tell you the devil is going to be released after 1,000 years. But if you can understand that this was a breath cycle, then it will make sense to you why it is called inhale, exhale. Not only that, but there's a word that they use in the Bible a lot called heaven. Heaven is an English translation. It also comes from the word nirvana. Nirvana is an Eastern word. Now, This is where heaven comes from. This isn't something I'm trying to make the connection with. It is where the word originates. This is why I tell you it's very important to study etymology. Because if you study etymology, you will start to see that all these things you have came from somewhere else. Plain and simple. You can take it however you want to take it, but you need to understand that the way it's being given to you at this point in time could never be the original way, ever. Right? Because even the Bible tells you there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new. Things only look different. You're your ancestors. You say, oh, my baby is new. No, he's not. Your baby is an accumulation of everything that came before him or her. You are your ancestors. Check your bloodline. Check your blood crystals. Right? So the word heaven comes from the word nirvana. And I want to tell you the other way to translate the word nirvana. Here it goes. Here is the translation for nirvana. There it is. The translation for nirvana is actually the same sound you would make when you exhale. When you exhale, you get heaven. Nirvana. So I just wanted to drop, I'm not going to go too much deeper into that, but look these things up. Because what I can promise you is that I don't speak on what I don't know. And I'm giving you the keys. All you got to do, put them in the door, turn the lock. Right? I can't do that for you. So breathing is a very deep knowledge in itself. And it's connected to a lot of parables and stories over time from a lot of different books and teachings. And it's just something I wanted to touch on today. Just to show you the importance of doing it properly and just being conscious. There's a lot of things the body does on its own. Breathing is one of them, because if it was up to you, you might forget to breathe. I know a lot of people that would probably forget to breathe and fuck around and die. Right? They done fell asleep. And you sleep. You're gone. You didn't breathe. You weren't conscious to control your breathing. This is why a lot of things for the body aren't your responsibility. Because if it was left up to you, you would ruin the whole thing. Right? How do you digest? You don't know. You just know the body does it. I want you to think about how many things your body does that you don't actually know how it does it. Go back to studying. Study yourself. Know thyself. That is the key. Know thyself. To thine own self be true. But you can't be true to yourself if you don't know yourself. Right? You don't know who to be true to. Is that me? Is that me? Is this me? I don't know. So yeah, man. So back to meditation. When you're having your eyes closed, you're looking up into the middle. You say, what do I do next? You breathe. What do I think about? Nothing. How do you think about nothing? Now, this is where a lot of Christians and religious people have issues with meditation, because they say, well, you're not supposed to clear your mind, because if you clear your mind, the devil comes in. Will y'all get out of this fear factors type of shit y'all talking about? Let that shit go. Come on, man. Really? You 60 years old, you still believe in devils and shit? But I digress. So anyway, you don't clear your mind. You actually listen to your own breathing. And by listening to your own breathing patterns, by just listening to that, just like you listen to anything else, just pay attention to your own breathing. That's all you're thinking about. Your next breath. You're monitoring, basically, your breaths. And by doing that, not only will it prevent you from going to sleep because you're doing something, but it'll prevent all these other kind of thoughts from invading your mind. Because you're already thinking about something. Breathing. This is the proper way to get into meditation. So I would suggest you starting off with a couple minutes a day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. See if you can get up to 30 minutes of meditation. There's 24 hours in a day. If you don't have 30 minutes to set aside for self, to center yourself, or to be self-centered, to be selfish. They want you to think it's a bad thing to be selfish. Being selfish is a good thing, especially if you're always doing things for other people. You have to be selfish to attain balance. Think about it. So take time out for yourself to meditate, to get grounded. I like to do it outside if I have my preference, in the sun, with my eyes closed. Getting that energy, getting those downloads. Remember, the sun it's electromagnetic energy, right? It's electricity and magnetism, the actual sunlight. You say, well, I don't know if that's true. Well, how do you think solar works? How do you think solar lights work from sunlight? That's energy. That's information. If you want to take it a step deeper, your skin also takes in vitamins from the sun. You see? This is why a lot of Caucasians or white people make a lot of supplemental vitamins. Because guess what? That ain't for you. That's for them. And I'm talking to the melanated people on that. That's for them. Meditation is for everyone. But what I mean is, when you can't spend time in the sun getting those nutrients, you have to take yours in pill form. Because the sun is actually killing you out of your body. For melanated people, we absorb the sun and become darker. We attain more melanin and more energy and more vitamins. We become vitamin rich. Don't you know that dark soil is the richest? Right? I'm going to do an episode on melanin here pretty soon. I'm going to do an episode on melanin. I'm going to say no more about that. I'm going to do an episode on melanin. It's going to be real informative. Because it's actually for all races, right? Because everyone has a form or a level of melanin, or you have a lack of melanin. So at the end of the day, it's all about melanin. One way or the other. So, take in what I gave you about breathing. Let me see if I missed anything. They associate breathing with manifesting a lot, with manifestation or the laws of attraction, simply because it puts you in a still place on the inside. And once you come out of meditation, you normally have your best thoughts, your greatest and brightest ideas instantly. Because you have taken time. It's like you've been running the TV all day, and then you just cut the TV off for an hour, and you just sit there and look at the black screen. You start to feel all the other energies slip away, slip away, slip away. Just for an example, right? So meditation is extremely good for your health, for everything, for your brain, for everything. Use it. So this was a breathing episode, partially about meditation, a little bit about Kundalini, some chi mixed in, and a little bit of prana on top. So I want you to look these things up. Understand what you're involved in. Don't be so caught up in your day-to-day life that you don't understand that you're not the body. You're the spirit consciousness that occupies and controls the body. I don't care if you're sick, you got different ailments going on. Don't believe in that stuff. If you believe in the sickness, it believes in you. Right? When I was real young, I believed there was a monster in the closet. Was there a monster in the closet? Yeah, as long as I believed it was. Right? Didn't you used to believe in Santa? So anyways, this was an episode on breathing and meditation. As always, I hope you got something great from it. Share it with somebody. Make sure your friends and your family aren't breathing backwards, puffing that chest out. Make sure it's going down into the depths, into the bowels, where the hot air is, right? The hell of the body, so to speak. Remember, the body only means earth. It's the same thing. Earth is represented by the heart, right? Earth is represented by the color green, which is also why nature is green and money is green. It's the same. Heart chakra is green. If you take the word heart, right? Take the H off the front, put it in the back, you have the word earth. I will say no more. So I hope you got something from it. As always, I appreciate the repeat listeners, people that come back. I apologize I haven't put out a podcast in a while because I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm working on a huge project. Also a single parent. So that takes up a lot of my time as well. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. And look, I appreciate your support. And if you want to reach out and support other ways, like I said, you can always support through the podcast platforms. I'm on every podcast platform that exists. Also, you can reach out to me on Cash App, which is $KOTR36. That's me on Cash App. You can reach out many ways to be a part of my energy. Connect your energy with me. Connect your money energy with my energy. And let's see it multiply. That's why they tell you when you need money, give money to somebody, right? But also be careful of who you give it to. Because it's just energy, guys. It's all energy. I'm going to do a money episode. I'm going to do a money episode too. I'm going to break down the metaphysics of money. So you can understand what this thing really is. Since you want to attract it so bad. So thank you for listening, man. Thank you for sitting here and listening to me ramble on for 46 some odd minutes. And I really hope you got something from it. Pass it along. So until next time, this has been another knowledgeable episode of My 3 Cents. Be on the lookout for what's next. Because I'm going to put out some episodes back to back to back to make up for the time that I've been off handling other things, right? So, until next time, My 3 Cents. Wholeness.